Cameroon English Language and Literature Teachers Association is actually structured into the national bench, where you have the whole country that is involved with the members. You have the chapters where we have regional, the regional board made up of regions, because in Cameroon we have 10 regions, absolutely. And also branches where we get to have COPs that are at the divisional level, and where I'm heading one of those divisions. So as far as using WhatsApp, we're just sharing our experiences so far. We have been doing that unconsciously, but now that this virtual exercise has brought us to do that consciously, we just want to share what so far we've been doing. Good. Experiences on the use of WhatsApp for ELT in Cameroon. For introduction, we are saying that WhatsApp is generally is used by teachers in Cameroon, but mostly in the urban areas, and they're used for various purposes. But teachers have tried for some time now to be using it for ELT purposes. And the reason why it is very good is because we say it is multi-modal, because we have videos there, we have messages, we have pictures that we can use for learning activities. And it's also affordable. You could always access WhatsApp if you have the data, as we call it here. Now, for active professional WhatsApp groups in Cameroon, we have for now 14 active groups that we've identified that are really active, that are involved in ELT activities. We have the Camelta chat group that is made up of 185 members. We have the Camelta ESCO group, 18 members. Camelta research group with 29 members. The think tank, where we get to discuss many things to bring to the general forum, which is 21 members. And the Etukebe, and other schools have so many of them that we get to use and we network with them. For example, we have in Etukebe Government Bilingual High School, where I do teach, made up of 32 members. And we have the Great Teacher Forum that actually covers teachers of the regional chapter of the center here in Cameroon. To move ahead, we continue with those professional WhatsApp groups. We also have these AT affiliate leaders made up of 25 members, the Hornby School with 56 members, LB unit for CBA, 28 members, and sub 1997 ML, 37 members, and then the bilingual 58 batch with 31 members. As we move on, we are trying to say that WhatsApp actually facilitates teaching in many ways. Most of us exchange ideas concerning teaching. We exchange ideas that can help facilitate teaching, especially to novice teachers that just come in and they have issues. And then we share lesson plans. With the advent of CBA that we have now, sometimes many teachers have difficulties. They need to know how they can actually get to draw good lesson plans to talk about the competent-based approach, which we are presently implementing in our educational system in Cameroon. Now, sometimes, most of the times, we also share, we do problem solving, as I've just said a while ago, with teaching, because sometimes with large classroom sizes, it's a problem. We get to see how we can look into those kind of problems, and problems too, like many students, few textbooks. Those are the kind of problems where we have things like that we share on WhatsApp, and colleagues will make use of them, and it's going to really facilitate our teaching. Now, sometimes we bring debates. We bring out a kind of topic like for how the success stories, and we try to look on it, and we talk on issues concerning teaching, and we bring what works and what does not work, and that debate moves on very, very in an interesting manner. To facilitate teaching as well, we share lesson tips and we gather feedback from other teachers about the recent trends, the initiatives that are actually working on teaching, so that, because like teaching is eclectic, we don't need to stay on one point. We get to know the new trends. Like for example, this WhatsApp trend that we are on it now, it's thanks to WhatsApp that we even know about it. And then we share icebreakers that you can always use in your classroom, especially when those boring classes in the afternoon. We share those kind of icebreakers on WhatsApp so that we facilitate teaching. And sometimes we do peer observation. We got to set teachers to other schools. They observe on particular set of lessons that might look difficult to many teachers, and they do the observation, and they give the feedback on the WhatsApp group, and teachers get to comment about it, and especially take out what works out of the box. Good. Now, we equally share jokes that are related to teaching, and we post exercises that you could use in your classroom to attain your, what we call, expected outcomes that you have set for your classroom. And we equally share past questions in the case of examination classes. Those who write national exams, they need to be exposed to how, especially teachers that teach examination classes, we send questions to them so that they will actually be exposed to how setting is done, and that can help them to go back to their learners and teach them. We equally share evaluation proposals. Evaluation proposals here, we're talking about end of sequence exams. Sometimes the level heads, they have to share the evaluation so that they can evaluate that evaluation exercise first to see whether it can be doable and it can actually work. And then they will give feedback so that at the end, they'll see whether that assessment can move on. We equally use this forum for announcements. We give announcements to members, teachers, especially on pedagogic activities. And WhatsApp has actually been a very useful tool as far as this is concerned. But we want to actually say there is nothing without challenges. We have challenges in the use of WhatsApp. Managing the WhatsApp group size is really a problem. Because sometimes, for example, let's take the case of our virtual viewing group right now, that there were so many. A while ago, we just went on break. On coming back, we had many messages. And to go through that, just because there are many people, sometimes is really a challenge. So when the group is large, it's difficult to manage, as opposed to when it is just small. Controlling the content sometimes have also been very difficult. You will bear with me that sometimes you're expecting something on your profession and you just see another digression, and before you know it, other professionals will be commenting outside what the group has really been set for. So controlling the content has really been a difficulty. For connection problems, that is something that we have. Sometimes here, network problems, we cannot actually function according to how, especially when we have a debate. If there is no network, we can't move on smoothly. So connection problems is also an issue. It is equally time consuming, I bet you. Sometimes you will say, no, let me just dash to WhatsApp, maybe take a link. Before you switch on, you see so many messages that you would like to react to. And this is time consuming. You might, if you're not disciplined, you might actually realize that you've taken much of the time that you must have been doing the task that you had at hand, and you're doing something else. Sometimes we have poor communication ethics. The way some professionals actually react to certain posts on the forums sometimes brings friction. So communication ethics is actually a challenge. Good. as the challenges continue, we're saying that transferring information from WhatsApp to other gadgets sometimes is really difficult, because sometimes we have posts on WhatsApp that we realize that we can use them very well for our teacher development or teacher education activities. But sometimes to actually transfer them to other gadgets, like you want to take it to your computer for the applications, sometimes since one is still moving, most of us were still moving into this technology, it becomes a challenge. To store information for further use, as I've said, is also a challenge, because sometimes you don't want to transfer it to another technology, to another gadget, but you want to actually save it for further use. But before you realize, you might not actually be able to do that. And we are saying that fear, this idea of fear, is what is in most teachers that we have realized here in Cameroon. Some people just feel that they cannot just do it, that they cannot just use WhatsApp for teacher development. The fear of not being able to use it is a big challenge, because when already you fear that you can't do anything, automatically it is a barrier. You have barricaded your mind and you cannot move further. And we want to conclude by saying that if WhatsApp is well controlled and managed, I bet you, Gary and all viewers, it can be very useful for teaching, learning processes, and even teacher education. But if poorly handled, it's going to be chaotic. On this note, we're going to end our presentation from Cameroon, and teachers too need to actually be trained on this. Like this training we are doing now is really, really important, so that we can now, on this note, we see that we are doing the right thing at the right time. We need this training. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be entertaining questions from Cameroon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. We have to turn the sound on so we can clap. Okay, interesting. Okay, so we have we have a little bit of time. We're going to have, if people have any questions for our colleagues in Cameroon, that would be really nice. And then we're going to cheat, and we're going to have a final Côte d'Ivoire presentation. We'll have two presentations from Côte d'Ivoire because we want to expose Côte d'Ivoire more. So, and then we've got another task to do. So the idea is to look to the future. So Susan, who helped a lot with the preparation of the materials, has created another set of slides, PowerPoint slides, which she's posted onto the Virtual Teachers WhatsApp group. So, and then we'll come back to that. So that's what we're going to do. But are there any questions first for Catherine? Some interesting ideas that you raised there that perhaps other people hadn't raised. So it's nice to see, you know, the differences and the different attitudes. I thought there were some really good points in that. And I think the final slide, excellent. So has anybody got any questions?
Ask questions.
It was very clear, as people are saying in the background, so maybe questions are not necessary. So, okay.
We just wanted to say that Catherine was not the one speaking, but Caroline.
Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Welcome here. Anyway, all starts with some CA. So you're right.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Juliet from Rwanda.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline, for your wonderful presentation. I just have a comment. It's like this WhatsApp idea is really a wonderful one. And it's supporting teachers in professional. It has or widely used
Connection.
around
Oh, Gary, we could barely get the
the
person that is asking the question because of some
urban
sound. Yeah.
areas within
Maybe
teachers on the sub teacher.
I'm sorry, we didn't get the question. It broke up too much. I mean, if you could
Yeah.
type the question in the discussion. Put the question in text.
No, presentation.
Hello, can you hear us? If people turn video off, it might help the bandwidth.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Yeah, 5 on 5.
Try again.
5 on 5.
Yeah, I was talking about WhatsApp being a good platform for supporting teachers in different ways, in sharing their best practices. And it's like Caroline mentioned about WhatsApp being used widely in urban areas with teachers in the urban area. And I was like having a concern on how can use this WhatsApp to support other teachers in rural areas. How can we scale it up? Because it's really a good idea and a good platform for teachers to share their best practices. But then how can we really use it widely in the country to support teachers in Cameroon?
Thank you very much for that question. This is Aita talking. And you got our challenges. It's one of the things we look forward to doing after this, because when you look at the rural areas in Cameroon, we have a first handicap, that is electricity. And that's why you saw in the postings, we asked the question, where they are not connected, what other alternatives? Because a teacher who dashes into town and sees this being done will be curious, but sometimes it's not just feasible in some of these areas. In as much as we will get them to those places that have light but don't have these facilities, we will still keep preaching the good gospel of what WhatsApp can do, so that the authorities, that be the policy makers, luckily we find ourselves in the group with all of them. It runs across the strata, and we have our inspectors who can put this through for us, so that with time, we are talking about a way forward. Because of benefits that accrue to things like this, we will definitely, surely but slowly, get to these people in the rural areas. It has to start somewhere. We are concretizing it here, but we hope to take it and expand this project. It's worth doing. We can do it.